Hello. I am super excited to share this episode with you. For one thing, although it's a blast being in the thrall of writing my new book, a handbook for those already born, I found myself missing making manifest the big stuff for you. And I'm also excited to share this episode because on it, you get to watch and hear Keenan Burton, a former NFL wide receiver, manifest his most important desire live, on camera, in real time. Keenan is a former NFL football player, a very successful business person, a great father and husband, and a high quality person with loads of integrity, passion, and grit. And he knows how to manifest. You're going to enjoy learning from him as much as I did. What is the great desire that Keenan manifests on this episode? You'll hear Keenan talk about it soon enough with your own ears. His greatest desire is not to be known as an NFL wide receiver for the St. Louis Rams, nor as a three-time All-Southeastern Conference wide receiver for the University of Kentucky, nor as a member of the University of Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame, and not as the athlete who still holds the UK record for the second most receiving yards and receiving touchdowns in their entire history. Instead of being known for those amazing, rare accomplishments, Keenan Burton's greatest desire is to be known by the work that he's done since football, to be known for the homes he's built and the businesses he's opened, known as a great husband, father, and business person, known for the lives he's changed and impacted, known as a man who has really helped people from all walks of life make good decisions and have better lives, especially young athletes and people like Keenan, people who look like Keenan and come from his background where he didn't have a ton of privilege. Keenan's greatest desire is to be a life-changing mentor, providing guidance to help young people who face the same challenges in life he did make their way and live a better life. Now, let's be honest here. Manifesting being known for those things instead of for being a world-class athlete would have been a heck of a lot easier if Keenan Burton hadn't been such a world-class athlete. So, get ready. You are about to watch and listen as Keenan manifests that desire right here with us on this episode, right in front of our eyes, as he lays out his blueprint for success in life and timestamps becoming that mentor he so desires to be. And if you could benefit from the mentorship of someone as successful as Keenan, like I have, you've definitely come to the right place today. I'm Greg Kuhn, the Law of Attraction science guy, author of the life-changing Why Quantum Physicists book series, and your host. Let's not wait another moment to jump into this powerful episode. Welcome. My guest today is Keenan Burton, a hero on the football field and off, from Louisville, Kentucky. He went to the University of Kentucky in 2004 and then to the St. Louis Rams in 2008. I'm really excited to talk with him today. I think we've got a really cool topic, Keenan, that you are going to be the perfect person to address. Can you say hi to folks?
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here, and I hope that you get something from this.
We'll work together to make sure. That's a great way to start it, though, Keenan. Also, Keenan, you're no stranger to the law of attraction and manifesting, are you?
I am not. I am no stranger to it. It's actually the way that I've lived my life since I to college.
Well, great. We're going to get into some great conversation about manifesting and the law of attraction, from which you've got a very unique perspective based on your life history. And I want to start by letting folks know just the type of person that we're speaking with here, the level of accomplishment that Keenan has manifested in his life. Keenan, you are much more than an athlete, but your athletic success is a big part of the reason why I'm so excited to speak with you today. You were the MVP of the Kentucky Tennessee High School All-Star football game in 2004. And then from high school, you accepted a football scholarship to play at the University of Kentucky, where you were just a little bit successful, maybe it would be a way to say it. In fact, instead of me trying to describe your college football career, I thought we might have some fun and watch a quick video that pretty much says it all about you. Do you mind?
Fair enough. No, I don't at all.
Okay, let me set this up and I'll share our screen. All right, now to set up this clip, this happened just a couple months ago in July of this year.
No time to waste, though. Let's get right into it for tonight's Big Blue story presented by CHI, St. Joseph Health.
All right, the UK Athletics Hall of Fame was started in 2005 to recognize and honor athletes whose participation and achievements enriched and strengthened the university's athletics program. A committee consisting of Hall of Famers, media members, campus representatives, and current coaches and administrators elects new inductees each year. So let's get started.
Our first inductee in this year's Hall of Fame is Keenan Burton, one of the best wide receivers and kickoff returners in UK football history. He finished his career second in program history in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, fourth in school history in pass receptions, and he was a three-time All-SEC honoree.
So excited for this. I covered him in high school and at UK. It's awesome. Burton helped UK win the Music City Bowl in 2006 and 07 and was also on multiple academic and community service-related teams throughout his collegiate career. Here's Burton's call to the Hall with Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart.
What's up, Mitch?
Good.
Hey, I'm great, man. How are you?
I appreciate you taking minutes for this. It's
Yeah.
I'm glad you jumped on. At the end of the summer, we try and go through a process where we look to name our University of Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame members.
Okay.
And so this call is to let you know that you have been nominated through the process and selected to be in this year's University of Kentucky Hall of Fame. Pretty cool.
I appreciate y'all for this.
It's pretty cool. So we're so excited. I can remember in the early days, man, and all the things that you and your teammates did to get us going in football. And man, so appreciate your commitment coming from Louisville to city of Louisville to come to University of Kentucky and help put us on the map, man. And so the wonderful catches, the beautiful runs, and all the things you did was sort of emblematic of a wonderful group of guys. And so just congrats, man, on a well-deserved honor. Well-deserved honor.
I appreciate it, man. I've been waiting for this call, and this means a lot to me. It really does.
With a question for you. Can you still play? Because you look like you could put the pads on and go again, my man. Unbelievable.
Man, I appreciate it. No, man.
You look like you're ready to go.
I wish, man. I would love to put it on just one more time. You know that.
Wow, Keenan. Let me start by saying how much I appreciate that you didn't wear the same shirt for our interview.
Of course not. Of course not.
You had to just been that look on your face right at Mitch Barnhart relayed the news to you. That had to mean so much to you.
It did. I mean, in life, I think that there are things that a lot of people desire. I think it's based on what they work for and what they feel like they deserve. And there's a difference. And to be inducted into the Hall of Fame is something that I worked for and I deserve. You know, I earned it and I never cheated, you know. And so to get to a place where that happened, it meant a lot to me, a whole lot.
That's a very compelling way to put it. You earned it You deserve it. What a great honor. Were you actually thinking about manifesting and the law of attraction during your football career at UK?
Yeah, I was on a different level. What I wanted to manifest at that time was a professional career. It was something that I always thought about. It was something that I always told myself. It was something that was confirmed by my teammates to me. Because I think a lot of times in manifestation, it's about what people are speaking to you as well, and what you're allowing to your subconscious mind. And so, yeah, I was. And I didn't know that I would be as good as I was at Kentucky. I just knew that I would do what was required to be a professional athlete, play professional football.
And actually, that's a great segue, Keenan, because I want to really dig a little more into that. You were, and not to discount, you're obviously, as Mitch Barnhart said, you're still in great shape. As a football player, you were freakishly athletic. In fact, at the 2008 NFL Combine, competing against the top NFL prospects in the entire country, you were a top performer in, tell me if I miss any, you were a top performer in the vertical jump, the broad jump, the 3-cone drill, the 20-yard shuttle, and the 60-yard shuttle. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually placed first in the vertical jump and then third in the 60-yard dash. You were a standout not only in terms of producing on the field, but having an incredible amount of athletic talent. My question to you, at what point was athletic ability alone not enough? When did using proper form become very important to you as a football player, as a successful football player?
It was never enough. Since I was 5 years old, my dad put a football in my hand. My athletic ability was never enough. The separating factor was always mindset and the desire. Because when we look at manifestation, we talk about, because Napoleon Hill talks about a burning desire and imagination. And so when you have burning desire and imagination mixed with it, it creates something very special. So my father never, and he didn't know what he was doing, but he never let me settle for just being good or being talented. You have to work, and with work and preparation comes faith, and with faith comes manifestation.
So you're telling me that as athletic as you were, I'm sure at every stop, as a high school All-American, as a college All-American, and then into the NFL, it really was about your form.
I am, because I never thought that I was more gifted than anybody. That never really crossed my mind. I never said I'm as gifted as Michael Bush or Brian Brown or Tayshaun McBloom, some of the guys that, Kaveh Jackson, some of the guys that played at a very high level in high school and then went on to college and had very successful careers. I always thought that I was a little bit behind them. And so what they had in skill, I had to make up in mindset.
And the results, when it comes to playing athletics, the results are always public facing, aren't they? You can't hide. You're performing or you're not performing. And so having form as a guide, that's maybe even, I imagine, might even take some of the pressure off.
It does, because Earl Nightingale speaks about what is success, and it's the pursuit of a worthy goal. And so when you're in the pursuit of something that you want, right, what happens is you don't really worry about the pitfalls and the valleys that you're going to go into. And in sports, there's always ups and downs in games and practices and all things in life. It's that same way. But if you know exactly where you're going to and you stay focused on your destination, your route may change, but the philosophies and the end result is what you focus on. So keeping proper form is the most important thing.
And I think that's an incredible way to begin to talk about your professional career, Keenan, when you talk about the ups and downs, because in very short order, we're going to see some big ups and some downs, and then your resiliency beyond. But before we get into the after football part, I want to let folks know in 2008, you achieved your dream. You manifested that desire you had since way back. You were picked by the St. Louis Rams in the 4th round of the NFL draft. And also by 2009, going into the 10th game of the year against the Saints, you were the Rams' leading receiver for the year. And unfortunately, in the first quarter of that game, you injured your patella, and that proved to be ultimately the end of your football career. Isn't that correct?
It is. And, one of the things that I want to speak, especially with any athletes or anybody that's wanting to achieve something at a very high level, what I want to mention is this. You have to be careful when it comes to what you manifest, because I only manifested getting to the NFL. I never saw myself staying. I always told myself that I would play 10, 12 years, but the desire wasn't strong enough. And I believe that there's a lot of people that want to manifest money, and their goal is always, I want to become a millionaire. Well, you earn $1 million and then you realize that $1 million is not a lot of money. So you're manifesting the wrong thing. You want to be wealthy. You want to be a successful football player, or a successful teacher, or a successful person, professional, whatever you want to do. So you got to be careful. But yes, everything that you said is correct.
That's a very interesting point you bring up, Keenan. Is that something that you have taken away as you've processed the end of your career? Or is that something that you've learned through that process?
Yes, it is. But there's also other deciding factors that go into how things turn out for you, how things work out. Because I've had a really good friend of mine, and I say good friend, and it's in passing, pass away from seizures and CTE that played in the NFL, Demarius Thomas. And you look at some of the things that happen to people that play the sport that I played for a very long time to achieve the things that we want to achieve. And some things are not as good as they seem. And so I believe that God knew what was necessary for me, and that my time being a professional football player needed to run its course so that nothing like that would happen to me. And my mind would stay intact and things would happen the way that they were supposed to. So sometimes we have to pivot and accept what fate gives us, but it doesn't mean that we failed. It just means that the course on that thing that we want, it just ran its time. That's all that it means. Yeah, it's something that you do have to transition out of, and you have to rebuild yourself in the manifestation part.
And I want to let folks know, Keenan, when you say you manifest $1 million and then you come to find out $1 million really isn't that much money, hearing that might gasp and say, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, $1 million is exactly what I want. It would solve all my needs. And I don't want to put your personal business out there for everyone to see, but your salary is public information. And I believe NFL salaries are pretty regimented in terms of how much different draft picks get paid anyway. Isn't that correct? But you, from what I read, you made almost $2 million during your time in the NFL. So you know what you're talking about when you say, hey, $1 million might not be as much as you think it is.
Yeah, I do. And the number's relative, right? The number's relative, because a person can say, I'm making $50,000 a year and I want to make 100,000. And then they make 100,000 and they don't understand that what they've manifested is a higher amount of money with the same type of financial philosophies. And so it's not that the money is too big or too small, whatever the number is for that person. It's that you're not responsible enough to deal with what you already have. So therefore, when you get or amass this amount of money, you're not going to know what to do with it, nor are you going to know how to keep it unless you manifest it in your mind that this is something that you want to continuously have and continuously see grow. It's all about what you think. Everything is about how you think and what you think about the thing that you say that you desire. Because people say that they desire a lot of things, but they really don't want the things that they say that they want.
Interesting. Well, you obviously have wanted some big success after football. What you just shared with us about being prepared, being ready, if you will, for the financial success, did you make good use of that money that you earned? Obviously, you've maintained a level of success that's pretty high.
Yeah, I did. And I'm speaking in general terms, but for me on a personal level, again, it comes down to what you know, what you don't know that you don't know. I was 22 years old when I was drafted. And I come from a family where we've always had what we wanted, but we were not wealthy by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. We struggled at times, especially my mother being a single parent of two. So you don't have the type of financial wherewithal to handle a certain amount of money. And so the philosophies that I was taught from my father and from my grandfather was that you save. That's a challenging financial philosophy because as you come into money and you learn more about money, you realize that saving doesn't bring you more money, especially when you understand how the market works and that the definition of dead money is money that doesn't work for you because the time value of money, as you have this money in the bank and time flows, this money in your bank account is worth less and less. And so I just learned that I need to start thinking about things financially different and start manifesting the way that I acquired money or the way that I sustained or the way that I handled people that wanted money from me. Because all of these things can contribute to either you becoming wealthy and being able to really help and provide for people that you love, or becoming broke and end up on 30 for 30, where everybody is trying to figure out what happened to Keenan Burton and his money. Because everybody, go ahead.
Well, I was sorry to jump in, but guess what? People still want to find out what happened to Keenan Burton and how he handled his money. Just in a good way, right? So go ahead.
So I transitioned out of playing football. I wasn't prepared because it was just the injury. I mean, I believe 100% believe that if I finished that year the way that it was going, I would have signed my second deal, maybe the year after that, because I was going into my third year. And so I would have been in a situation where I would have made a substantial amount. I'm talking life-changing money to set my whole family up for generations. But I did. And so I had the money that I had. I saved it. I didn't spend it. And I got smart. And my wife is a tax accountant. And so my wife was very adamant about building credit. And she was very adamant about financial literacy and understanding where to put money and how to control our finances. And so she taught me a lot on the way. So then I started to research. I decided to jump into a food franchising industry that I knew nothing about and learned so much from it. I didn't make any money. In fact, I lost money in that deal. And then I jumped out of that, got involved in a supplement business and became very successful, reached the top of that company, and then wanted to figure out how to create true residual income, mailbox money. And I started studying very successful people. And anybody that's ever had success, I'm talking about billionaires, technology people, anybody that you can think of, anyone, they all got some of their wealth for a lot of their wealth from real estate. And so me and my wife, in fact, when I was playing, my wife had purchased a townhouse in Atlanta for a certain amount on a short sale, foreclosure, basically. And we sold it for almost triple what we bought it for. And then that got me started into the real estate space. Then I started looking at mentorship. Who had the answers to the problems that I had? And what didn't I know that I needed to know? And I got in contact with a real estate investor out of Chicago, and he showed me a lot of different things. And then I developed relationships and decided after I went into business for myself that the easiest way to create wealth in real estate on the front end is to build partnerships. So I developed a couple of partnerships with some people in different states where I've been able to do real estate.
Fascinating. A few things. Wow. To unpack that. First of all, I just want to ask you, your wife is a tax accountant?
She is. Her focus is real estate partnerships.
Did you collect resumes for wives? Is that you wound up with such an amazing professional partnership?
You know, it's funny. I talk to my friends about this all the time, and I've been in some relationships, and I've had women that I've been interested in and have been interested in me. And I look at God and I look at what I said that I wanted. And she is exactly not only what I wanted, but exactly what I needed, especially for the space that I was in my life. And that literally is a manifestation of what I wanted, what I needed, and what God was willing to give me. And I'm super, super blessed to have her as my wife. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky.
I will echo those sentiments, Keenan, and very much so. Yeah, my wife kicks ass. just to
Yep.
be blunt. And I
Yep.
love that. In fact, she's such a great partner, such a hard worker, so talented, so imaginative. Sometimes I wish I wasn't as good at manifesting because she's hard to keep up with. And that's a good problem to have, right?
It is.
So the other things you talked about, you're starting to get into the other big reason why I'm so excited to talk to you today. Your success off the football field, because you have achieved so much by also following form, just like you did in athletics. And let me just take one moment to say that at Manifest the Big Stuff, when we talk about following form as a manifester, what we're saying is we want to learn the best habits and the success practices of someone manifesting a version of reality that we'd like to emulate. And then we give our best effort to make their form our form. And, I heard you talking about learning that keeping your money active and in play was important. I heard you talking about learning that real estate was a great place to do that, or a vehicle to do that. I heard you talking about how important mentorship is to you. I heard you then reference how vital your partnerships are. And all those things are parts of the form that Keenan Burton follows to be a successful businessman, human being. Tell us a little more about how intentional you have been and still continue to be about form.
Well, it's the most important thing. And I'm very intentional. You have to think about it like this. There's always a blueprint. Someone's already done the thing that you want to do. Now, you may create something that's never been created before, but someone's created something that's never been created before. So you can follow that form, right? And so I believe that true wisdom comes from the experiences of others. And then you don't go down the path that they went down. You learn from it and you apply it to your life. And I think that's true wisdom. So I'm very intentional about it. But the biggest thing is understanding that I've made mistakes doing it my way for so long. And I understand that in certain aspects of life, I don't know what the right way is. And so I have to find mentorship. Even if that mentor doesn't even know that they're mentoring me, I have to find people that have been where I've been at, because it doesn't mean that things don't get difficult. And this is what I want people to understand. It's like there's daily struggle with athletes that people don't know about. And so you have to follow form just to keep your mind sane when you come from a place where everything has been done for you, where you've accomplished the highest level, and you go into a life that basically forces you to be average again, or average, where you've never been average before. So then you have this inner conflict with your spirit saying, okay, no, it's okay to just be average. But then you have your subconscious telling you it's not okay to be average. His voice is telling you, stop doing it, stop being average, because this is just not who we are. And then you wrestle with it often. And so if you don't practice some form of form and continuously following people that are successful and listening to what they do, how they do it, you're going to fall right back, or fall to a place where you've never been before, which is being average or mediocre. And that's just not acceptable. And I've been at that place. And sometimes it's easy to get stuck there. But you have to be intentional about it.
You have to. And it's quite easy, isn't it, to find ourselves in a place where we start judging our insides by other people's outsides.
Yeah, I've heard. So one of the people that I follow, he says this, and this really helped me. And this will help a lot of other people be very appreciative of their life. He says that when you compare yourself to other people, you compare your disadvantages to their advantages, what their station in life, where they're at, their successes, their failures. You don't know what their advantages are. They may be in a space totally different from you, and you feel like you need to be there right now. You have to run your race. It can't be you trying to run someone else's race because you feel like you deserve to be in a place that you haven't worked to get to. That's not your race. And so you can't compare your disadvantages to their advantages.
I hear you speaking to integrity and authenticity. And I would just like to add that if I'm running somebody else's race, not only is that not my race, therefore my well of passion that I can draw from, and might run dry pretty quickly, as you were alluding to. But you know what else? If I win that race, it's not even the race I wanted to win. And then, so it's really, it's a losing part of that proposition. I do want to follow up on one thing you said, especially Keenan, mistakes. Mistakes are part of the process, are they not?
They are. And what happens to people, we get paralyzed by failure because we believe that a mistake means that we failed. And I'm guilty of it. You don't try, you don't do something, or you don't jump because you feel like not winning is losing, when in actuality, not winning is learning. And, there's something that you have to continuously tell yourself, speak into your spirit, because sometimes it gets difficult. It gets difficult for you to want to proceed forward when you've learned so many lessons. But you have to, because this could be the breakthrough to your success if you keep pushing.
And what a great opportunity to ask somebody who's been there. When you say, and I love that, not winning is not losing, not winning is learning. When the clock is coming to a close and the game is ending and you're getting tackled inside the 5-yard line and you stretch your right hand out with the football in it, but it doesn't quite cross the goal line and your team loses the game, that is still learning. It might be more painful than other shortfalls or failures that we like to call them. You've been there. You've been on both sides of it. How does that play out?
Because there's a lesson in the loss. I mean, you have to think. One of the things that we do in football is that regardless if you win or lose, you go back and watch film so that you can identify the things that you did well and that you didn't do so well. But in winning, you feel good. There's this euphoria that you get because you accomplished the goal that you had for that game, for that season. In losing, you don't feel so good. And so you tell yourself that you never want to feel that feeling again. And so you got two options. You can either work harder to make sure that doesn't happen, that you don't feel that feeling, or you can submit to that feeling and quit because you lost. So then you're going to have the pain of regret, or you're going to have the pain of work. Choose your heart. Which pain do you want? And for me, now that I have children and I have a son that looks exactly like me, I choose the pain of work because I don't want him to look at his father and say, my dad's a quitter. My dad doesn't stand on what he says he does. What he says he stands on it, and what he does what he says he's going to do.
That's an important added motivation, an important added accountability for you.
It is.
You know what? Everything you just said, and I feel like you were doing this, but if you could pull all the football and athletic references out of it and swap them out with, non-athletic life stuff. I mean, in terms of learning from, not defining yourself by the shortfalls, not defining yourself by the failures, by the pain, but by using that as fuel. Is that something that you have obviously carried over, blurred the lines, if you will, between athletics and life outside of athletics?
Well, yeah, because I'm no longer an athlete. That's the thing. That's what people know me as. That's what the first thing that someone's going to say when they see me, because I haven't accomplished enough yet outside of the game. But there's going to come a point in time, this is manifestation, where no one's going to know me for playing football. Not where I'm from, because of the work that I've done, because of the homes that I've built, because of the lives that I've changed, because of the businesses that I've opened, and the lives that I've impacted. They're going to know me for that. And so you have to be able to transition from the athletic perspective to the business side of things, or take away the business or athletic side, the life side. My main goal in the next 5 to 10 years of my life was to change people's perception of me. And I don't want to be perceived as an athlete anymore. Those days are over. Those are not coming back. I want to be perceived as a great husband, great father, great person, and a business person that's really helped people and giving people that are like me, that look like me, that don't look like me, that are athletes, former athletes, a way to make a living, because it's not easy when you get done doing what we do.
Hey, I hear you loud and clear. And well, I'll say this. You mentioned earlier the importance of mentorship, and you talked about how, even when somebody doesn't know, that they're your mentor. And I just keep thinking about how many people are going to watch and listen to this conversation that really need to hear what you are sharing for a variety of reasons, and how you are mentoring people. You are now putting a timestamp in 3D time space. You're creating a space, an energy space where Keenan Burton is able to mentor someone who needs this mentorship right here, right now, for whatever reason. I'm really not only thankful that you're willing to go here with us, but also really proud to be talking to you and giving you an opportunity to do that. Yeah, could we spend a little bit of time talking a little more about form and how important it is? Because I've identified 4 primary ways, or 4 very powerful ways, that form can assist you in manifesting. And, I certainly have never come close to achieving the athletic success you have, but I do run about 30 some miles a week. And so I have that crossover as well, if you will. First, I'd like to propose that form gives you a readily available internal litmus test for whether or not you're giving your best efforts, especially when we're doing something that's got public facing results, when people can tell whether or not we're doing it. I find it's very helpful to be able to go back at the end of a performance or in retrospect and say, was I giving my best effort or not? I can look and say, did I adhere to form the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I like that because it holds you accountable.
And I think asking myself, am I following form or did I follow form? That's a kinder question than asking myself, did I hit the nail on the head? Did I do it? Did I achieve the exact outcome that I wanted? Because there's a lot of factors that influence those things, right?
There are a whole lot.
So the second thing I've identified is that, and I think this one is really cool, following form assigns my whole self jobs. Like when I'm running and I'm following form, what it's really doing for my body is just giving every muscle and every muscle system a job, because they all have jobs, holding me up in space and moving me forward. Form outside of athletics works the same way. It assigns my whole self a role or a job in the process of manifesting the reality I desire.
Oh, I like that.
I think of it when I'm running as when I notice muscles that aren't engaged, they're sort of hiding in the corner.
Yeah.
I invite them to the party. I'm like, come on, man. We're all doing this. Let's do it.
You speak to them?
I do.
That's
Sure
good.
do. I speak to them verbally with my thoughts, and I also speak to them by breathing to them and then exhaling from them. That's another form of energy conversation that I have with them. So yeah, I re-enlist them like, come on, don't hang on the wall. Let's go, man. We're out here having a good time.
Like that.
And doing that really leads me to the third advantage of following form, and that is when I'm doing it, it really helps illuminate where I need support, because I can clearly see, it's one thing to know that I need help. It's another thing to feel pain. It's another thing to see that I'm not able to produce like I want to. But when I'm following form, it really helps me to be able to see where the issue is and what I can do about it,
Yeah.
Just like, I think about somebody who doesn't know how to be a good student yet, and they're falling behind in school, and you might ask them, what's the form that a successful student follows? Well, it's not just being in class and being quiet and doing the homework. It's also getting to bed early enough, or, setting aside a little time to study, eating right, all those things. It's really a holistic approach. And that takes it really directly into the fourth advantage, and that is that when I follow form, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I find it takes a lot of the pressure off. I know that sometimes when I'm about to go for a run, I like to run 6 to 8 miles. Every now and then when I'm getting ready to go, I find myself feeling anxiety about it. Like, I got to go out here and perform. And then I remember, and this is honestly literally what I do, is I say, wait a minute, I'm not going out here to perform a stunt. And I'm not going out here to run a certain distance at a certain pace as much as I am to just go out and maintain my form in each moment for the entire time that I run. And that takes a heck of a lot of pressure off me, I found.
That's good. That's good because you're committed to the process at that point.
Yeah.
It's the process of doing the thing that you say you're going to do.
Keeps me focused
Yep.
and productive. And Keenan, I don't want to let this opportunity pass, especially after just sharing that with you.
Yeah.
Without asking you specifically for some thoughts and advice. You have desires that you're working toward manifesting. You have ways that you want your reality to be even more pleasing to you, more productive, more successful. I am the same way. And everybody listening and watching also has desires and dreams. You're somebody who has set some very ambitious goals for yourself, and you've achieved them. And some of those goals are pretty rare air. And I hear you talking about the rare air that you still want to attain. What advice do you have for somebody who right now wants very badly to manifest something that's very important?
The first thing that I would say is that they have to be open to it. You have to be open to it because when we talk about manifestation, some people don't believe it. And the first thing about manifestation is belief. There's two types of ways to believe. You have belief based on reference experiences. You believe something because you've experienced it. And then you have belief when it comes to what someone has said to you. And when someone tells you something, you believe it for a second. But when you experience it, you believe it for a lifetime because you have a reference point. And then I would say it's about what you're putting in your body. A lot of people don't understand that manifestation comes from the way that you think, talk, and act. There's a book that I encourage everybody to read that's called The Tongue, A Creative Force. And it puts spiritual context behind why and how you can manifest what you want through faith and prayer. And one of the things that I've realized, and this is a book that I listen to often, this is my third or fourth time listening to this book, I just restarted it, is that you can manifest things with faith. But what you speak is part of you believing. So you say you believe in something, based on your actions and how you show up every day. And that's the biggest thing that I found is that you're not going to always feel like you're winning, but you have to act and be and speak as if you are, because that's the thing that manifests your reality to you, is that. So my advice would be open to it and understand that we're put here to create, and God created by speaking. And God says that we are God because we are of him, he is of us. So if that's the case, and that's one of God's promises, then it means that what you say will manifest itself, good or bad. It doesn't matter. So you choose what you manifest.
So it's important to practice, isn't it?
Practice is everything, because then the practice turns into the game. It becomes the game.
Yeah, I was thinking about practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yep.
And I think maybe that could be interpreted as sort of a harsh way to say it. But what I hear is, yeah, what I practice is what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Keenan, for sharing your time with us today.
Of course.
I don't have any doubts that we truly took advantage of this opportunity to create something valuable. I know that there are folks that are going to watch and listen that really need to hear this. And I can't think of anything more valuable to share with someone than your time. So thank you for doing that.
No problem. Anytime. If you need me, just call. I'm here.
Thanks, Keenan. Take care.
All right.
I use running as exercise, but also to achieve a flow state, which is an ideal space for reflection and growth for manifestors. To create a flow state, I make running not about how fast I go, but only about me holding my body aloft, using every muscle to do so, while propelling myself forward through space and time in each moment for an hour or so at a time. How fast and how far I go, they're of secondary importance to giving my best effort to do what I just described in each moment. In fact, when I'm running, this moment is the only moment that I came out to run. And now, my quantum thought. The reason I pick up garbage when I'm walking is because I want to live in a community without garbage on the ground. Setting aside the thoughtlessness of throwing garbage on the ground, I'm often strangely grateful towards the litterer for providing me with such an immediate and tangible way to manifest my desire to live in a clean community. And those are the same reasons I will go to great lengths to not get in an argument or fight, especially with the people I'm closest to, like my wife. I go to great lengths not to argue or fight, because I don't want to be in an argument or a fight with anyone. And it doesn't matter if I'm right, because I'm still in an argument or fighting. And besides, I do not have to argue or fight to respectfully stand my ground, speak plainly and honestly, lay out clear and appropriate boundaries, and then abide by them. Thank you for joining me today. If you found value here, please go to my website, manifestthebigstuff.com, and download your free copy of my life-changing introductory book called How Reversing 7 Words Can Change Your Life. You'll have a powerful free book, and I'll be able to stay in contact with you about manifesting. And please make sure you follow me on YouTube or on whatever platform you're enjoying Manifest the Big Stuff. Thank you again for sharing your time with me today. Your investment is key here, and I'll never take it for granted. Until next time, I hope you make the most of your time, and I'll do likewise.